I'm looking at this car, it's got a dead battery, only 7 volts when I checked it. They do charge it with a trickle charger. Car doesn't get used that much, so they trickle charge it from time to time, but maybe not enough because it was only down to 7 volts. So I'm going to put on this jump starter. At the moment it's not switched on because the battery is too low, so I'm going to press and hold the boost button. And the interior lights coming on in this bonnet, under the bonnet here, under the hood. So yeah, they don't trickle charge it all the time, the clamps aren't connected, but I think that's the problem. They leave the bonnet open all the time ready for trickle charging, and that's why it's draining the battery. If that stays on all the time, I'm going to start the car up and see if it starts. As you can see, it started because the RPM's going and you might be able to hear it. This might just be because it's had a dead battery, that one there. When I switch it off, I want everything to go up and it looked like that interior light was on. Not the interior, I mean the one under the bonnet. Talking of that though, why are these lights not coming on? Do these not come on? And the door's open, they've been switched off. So if I want to make sure it knows the door's closed. I'll do a quick test and shut the door. I need to get my foot in here so I can swing the door closed. Yeah, so that makes me think these door switches are working. It doesn't say that the bonnet or the hood is open, but it is, and the interior light's on. So I'm going to check it's charging and see why the battery's not lasting. It may just be the battery. They did try to jump start this car themselves using these cables. These are quite thin wired, so I think that's the problem. It didn't work for them because there wasn't enough amps getting through. The thicker the cable, the more amps are going to get through to start it, like the ones that are on the car. What they could have done is maybe put those cables on and left the car they're jumping it from running for half an hour connected to this and then tried to start it. When I connected this, it didn't even start the car because the battery was that low. So I had to press the boost button and then it would let me start the car. And when I did, this light came on as soon as the boost button was pressed. That's when I knew that's been left on. That's the cause of the dead battery. So even though they've been charging it with the trickle charger, I think because the bonnet has been open, it's been draining with this switched on all the time, and any other modules that would be on because of it. Let's make it think it's closed by using this. Closing it, lights off. Once I get a little bit of charge in here, I'll do another test, but it certainly helped with this. As soon as I connected it, the light came on. I'm wondering is the bonnet's never closed. I know the interior light, but there may be other modules that never shut down. I want to see the amperage. This was 0.8, 0.8 I mean, of an amp, 800 milliamps, which is too high. So now I'll get some charge in here, check it's charging, and then now that I've done that, I'll keep the other doors closed and the boot closed and see what the amps are like. I'm getting plenty of charge in there, 14.5 volts. I'll take over, I'm not using this, it's disconnected. This thing's fully automatic. Once you disconnect it, it'll eventually switch off. This light goes out first and then the other lights switch off when it realizes it's not being used, even though it's still plugged in here. Okay, I'll give it a while to put charge in there. Like I say, try it again. It's only been a few minutes. It was like 3:30 when I started this and it's gone down to 0.87. That's a lot lower than I've ever seen it. So far it's looking good. I did see it go down to 0 and I got excited and realised it's just this lead. Must have gone one of the contacts must have not been good, because when I wiggled it I got a little spark. So I'll give it a few minutes now, see what this goes down to. I think it was maybe that. What I could do as well to prove it, if this goes down enough, I'll pull the bonnet to open this latch again. I know the light went out, but maybe other things were still awake. But yeah, that's much better than it was before. So it's been a few minutes now, and that's gone down to 13 milliamps, 12 milliamps, call it 13. But what I was told when I worked at Land Rover was 20 milliamps. I've kind of used that. 20 milliamps or less, so 0.0, then that would be a 2. So this is lower than that, so going by what I was told from the technical department at Land Rover, when I phoned them about a battery drain, but this is it, this is fine. Now we can pull the bonnet, see if the light eventually shuts off after a certain amount of time, but if we still have a high amperage, we know what it is. It's because the bonnet's open. Right down there at the side of the seat is the bonnet pull. So I've just pressed that because I want it now to think it's open. I know that light's come on, but I want to see if that times out and goes out. Does this still have a high amperage? That's my next test, just to see, does that ever get timed out? And other things are awake because that's open. That's my thought at the moment. So I'll give it a few minutes again. It's 42 minutes past. I'll give it a few minutes and see if that goes down and that light goes out. Because I've waited long enough now, waiting for this to shut down, it's been at least 10 minutes, so I thought if I unplug the bulb, right, it's a little quicker to do it without burning myself. Right, that's out now. So the bulb's off, but we're still slightly high. I'll give it a few minutes now. That's saved me a bit of time instead of waiting for that to shut down. 0.5. That's 50 milliamps, so it's still too high. Some people might say it's acceptable 50 or less, but I still try and go for the 20 or less. Especially if that's what I've come out to see. They don't use the car a lot. That's why they have these trickle chargers on it. So that seems to be that one. 59. I'll give it a couple of minutes, see if it goes any lower. That's still too high. I wouldn't want to say that's okay just by unplugging that. But we know if we close the bonnet with a screwdriver, that'll go down even more. So that might just be what I have to show them how to do that, and tell them if they're going to be trickle charging it. That's what you need to do. They've just closed this latch again, so it thinks it's closed. Now we're back down to the 12 or 13 milliamps. I prefer to go in series. I find I get a more accurate reading than putting an amp clamp around it. So I could connect this again, tell them what I've found. Don't want to leave it off, in case I'm not here when they come back. And they don't know that it's not connected. It's still at 13. Anyway, that never went lower. That never went out, and when I disconnected it, I never got it to go less than whatever it was. 52 milliamps, I think it was. Yeah, 52 milliamps when that was disconnected, so that's enough of a difference. I'm happy with it now. I'm going to recommend they put a battery on, and they can't leave the bonnet open unless they push that latch down. But that was the main reason. When this is open, so you can get the charger cables through, it was actually causing a drain. So whilst they're trickle charging, they're draining it at the same time. Hopefully this has been useful to somebody. Thanks for watching.